Cleaning up from the last video. This is video 2 of the 5-part series on how to teach your kid chess. Part 2 here is Knight Battleship. This is the second game. I think it's really good to do this after bishops and rooks because you want to develop the sense of movement, and then this game will refine it and teach the most tricky moving piece. Pawns are kind of tricky. Knights are tricky, but it's a complex piece, and you're going to build the calculation ability of your student with this game. This can be a solo game or a team game. I had a student in St. Louis who really didn't like chess. She just hated chess class every time. And I tried to get her to tell me what her favorite activity was for sport or recess or whatever. And she said, I really like gymnastics. I said, have you seen the Olympics? Who do you like? And we talked about gymnastics, and I said, how do you think those people get good at gymnastics? Do you think they do lots of push-ups? And do they go to the gym and do they fall on their head when they're trying to do their flips and stuff? I bet it's not really all that cool when you're doing it, If you do gymnastics, you'll see there's practice involved, and practice isn't always fun, but it allows you to have fun once you learn and spend some time training. And so I framed this as, this is gymnastics for chess, where you get to learn how this knight moves around the board and cartwheels around the board. And so what we do is, the knight moves in an L shape, obviously. You can look up the piece movements somewhere. That's what I should tell you. The knight goes 2 squares in one direction and then 1 square in a different direction. So this 90-degree elbow L-shape thing. So there's 8 movements in an unconstrained board, or 4 from the side. I often will just give kids an obstacle course, say, hey, first of all, can you take this piece? Yes. How many moves does it take to get here? But really, you just want to start off having people play as soon as possible. So the way this game works, actually, you don't start with pieces on the board. There's 2 variants, okay? There's solo and group. We'll start with the solo. So the solo version is, you just put a knight anywhere on the board, and then you put some number of pawns, say 3 pawns anywhere on the board, just choose random squares. And then this is a student doing this by themselves and say, hey, look, if you don't want to play with other kids, go ahead and just do this. See how many moves it'll take you to get those pawns. Okay, so it might take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moves to get all those pawns. Can you do it faster? I don't know. Maybe set up a different position and try again. I'll put the knight here and here and here. How many moves do you think this takes? And just have a kid keep a sheet and tally. Game 1, it took me this many moves. Game 2, it took me this many moves. And that girl that I talked about, who the gymnastics analogy, she eventually she was the best in the class at this game because she just sat there all day doing this for a couple weeks. And she kept writing down shorter and shorter numbers, and she said, if I put the pawns in this path like this, then the knight can get them all super fast, and I can get to the minimum number of jumps always. And that's what you want. You want a student to be able to see 5 moves in advance with this knight, and that's super good chess. Wikipedia knight moves. There's this really cool diagram of how many moves it takes to get to an individual square. I love this. It takes 4 moves at least to get here and whatever. So, that's a little bit advanced. You don't need kids to memorize this. But the 2-player version here that you want to play with your student or your kid or your friend, I like to explain it as, you get a knight and 3 pawns. Okay? The black player gets to, white goes first, so black gets to place first. You get to place your knight anywhere on the board. White can place their knight anywhere on the board, but not attacking the black knight. So I'll put it here. And then you take turns putting pawns around. Anywhere you want. The pawns are not going to move. They are going to act as flags to capture, just like the puzzles I was sharing in a second ago. And you say, okay, white goes first, then black goes, then white. Whoever takes all the opponent's pawns first wins. And you got to watch out, because your opponent could take your knight too. So maybe white will go here, black will go here, white will take here, black will almost go here. Oh, don't go there, because the knight will get you. Maybe I want to get this pawn. So you want to encourage students, if they're having trouble, just to select a pawn and try to go for it. So I want to get this pawn. You know, you can't get any pawns right away. Can you get any pawns right away? No. So you want to choose a pawn, maybe this one. How do I get there? I don't know. Well, if I work backwards from this pawn, a knight move might be here, or maybe here, or here, or here. Are any of those squares that your knight can go to? Oh, look, yes, I can go here. Or I could go up there. So maybe I'll go there, and then next turn I'll get it. So you can break it down backwards. Often there will be a student who's quite good at this, and a lot of others who aren't, and it will be lopsided, but that's okay. And you can do the same thing. Let's just finish this off. Whoever, oh wow, this is a close game. Oh my goodness. Oh, white wins. Okay, switch colors, try again. Switch opponents, switch partners. Same thing as the first video. You can do a tournament where you give a prize, have your students or kids or adults write down the name of each person they play. Did they win or lose that game, 1 or 0? And you can give a prize to people who make the most wins, who have the best sportsmanship that you observe, shaking hands before each game, saying good game, thanks for playing with me. Or asking questions. Hey, you beat me really fast. How did you do that? Can you teach me more things? You just want people to be engaged, and then you can give a prize for like whoever plays the most games. Even if they lose, if they're playing a lot, that's really good because you'll improve faster. And so you want students to not just slowly shuffle around, sleep at their desk. You want them to keep playing. So that's a good prize as well. Cool. Yeah, and again, after the class is done, or after a game is done, don't tell your student in the middle of this game. Don't tell your kid, "Hey, did you see this? Hey, look at that. You missed this." Wait until the end, when the game is finished, and if you can remember, or just think of the general concept and make a puzzle, and say, "Hey, at one point, we had this position, or something like this, and you went for that pawn." But you could have gotten this pawn in one move. Like, do you think that's faster? You can ask these questions, but ask them so the student is actually learning, and allow them to have freedom when they're playing. Let them learn to make their own moves and make their own mistakes, and then ask them questions when they're really ready and receptive to say, hey, like, I have a quick puzzle or whatever. Yeah. And then the challenge often is this 4-mover, or you can like put the knight over here, say how, and you can ask the class at the end, hey class, let's come back together for the last 5 minutes. I want to do some puzzles. Can someone raise their hand and tell me how many moves it takes for this knight to get to that pawn? And I think the answer will be 4. Yep. Cool. Let's go to the next video.